Okay, this is the June 2012 Biology B1 paper, the foundation tier. This is question 6. Starts off by talking about insecticides. Insecticides are chemicals that kill insects. Insecticides may be sprayed onto crops to increase crop yield. Crop yield means the amount of crop that you get, probably on a per acre basis or per hectare basis. Killing insects on crops increases the crop yield. Suggest why? Well, that's a straightforward one. The crops actually the insects damage the crops or eat the crops. So insects damage crops and decrease the yield. So killing them increases the yield. Okay, and then we've got a big long question with charts in, so let's have a read of this and then get our heads around the chart. A microorganism, that's a microbe, contains a gene which causes the production of an insect poison. So we've got a microbe that can poison insects. Scientists transferred the gene that produces the poison into wheat plants. So we've taken a gene from a microbe and put it into wheat. This makes genetically modified wheat. The scientists grew wheat plants with the insect poison gene in fields and greenhouses. Okay, so that's wheat plants with the poison in fields and in greenhouses. And then they grew wheat plants without the poison in fields and in greenhouses. So that's 4 different experiments. And then they measured the crop yield of the wheat plants, and the bar chart shows the results. Okay, let's have a look at the bar chart. Up here we've got the crop yield in arbitrary units. Arbitrary just means I'm not going to tell you what the units were. I'm just going to measure them in some way. So they've not put kilograms or tons per hectare or anything like that. So they just want you to read off this scale. On the bottom we've got the type of wheat plant, which is here with the poison and here without the poison. And then we've got a key here which says that the dark ones are grown in fields, these 2, and the light ones are grown in greenhouses, these 2. And it's quite complicated. That goes down and that goes up. Right. First question is usually just read one of these values off. Let's see. What was the yield of the wheat with the insect poison gene grown in greenhouses? So it's with the gene and in greenhouses. So here's with the gene. So it's one of these 2. Greenhouses is the light one, so it's this one. We've got to read that. That's easy. 60 units. An easy mark. Next question. The yield from wheat without the gene grown in greenhouses was different from the yield you gave in B1. Okay, let me find that one. Without in greenhouses. Here's without. Here's in greenhouses, so it's this colour. Yep, so it's that I want to find out there. That's different, and describe this different. Now look, I'm being asked to describe it, not explain it or give a reason why. So it's a straightforward description, but there's 2 marks. Compared to this one, it's gone down. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. Yield for wheat without poison gene grown in greenhouses is lower. But I can't have 2 marks for saying it's lower, so I've got to compare it in some way. There's 2 ways I can do that. I can say, well, it's low by how much? Well, that's 60 and that's 40, so this must be 50. So I've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares makes 10 units. So each unit's 2 squares. So there's the 50, so that's 52. I'll just check. 60, 58, 56, 54, 52. So that is 52. So I'll put a dash. It is 52 compared to the 60 for wheat with poison gene grown in greenhouses. Now you would have got the mark for just saying it's lower by 8. So I've gone over the top there a little bit. But if you said it's lower and it was 52, or it goes down to 52, you'd have also got the mark there. Next question. Look again at the bar chart. What advice would you give to a farmer about the type of wheat to grow in fields? Okay, here's the bar chart. Wheat grown in fields is the dark one. So if you look at the two bars, this is the best bar, this is the highest yield, and that's the wheat without the insect poison gene. So I've got to give advice, and I've got to give a reason for 2 marks. So advice first. I would advise the farmer to grow wheat without the poison gene. That's my first mark. Here's my second one, because in the trials this had the highest yield when grown in fields. So it wasn't true for the other one. If you look, that one is higher than that one. So wheat grown in fields, the one without is higher than the one with. But when it was grown in greenhouses, the wheat with was higher than the one without. The farmers don't grow wheat in greenhouses, they grow it in fields. So that's what they're after there. Final question. Some people are concerned about the use of GM crops. Why is that? Well, you need 2 marks here. So really you've got to suggest 2 things. The first one is that they think that the introduction of genes into crops might not make them not safe for human consumption. The new genes may affect the safety of the crop for human consumption. That's my first one. The second one is that those genes might affect that the genes in the wheat might have some effect on other organisms. It might have effect on the insects that are involved in pollination, or the weeds that grow nearby. So GM crops as a whole may affect other organisms, wildflowers or insects. That's a tricky mark. It's the 8th mark out of 8, so not surprising that some of these are going to be a little bit harder to get. And that's question 6.